Mira jolted awake as her phone buzzed violently on the nightstand. The glow of the screen pierced through the darkness, casting eerie shadows across her small apartment. She squinted at the clock, 2:47 a.m. A chill crawled down her spine. Who would call at this hour? She hesitated before picking up. Hello. A deep static filled the line, followed by the faint sound of breathing. Then, a voice she knew too well. Her own voice. Mira, don't open the door. Mira's blood turned to ice. Her mind scrambled for a logical explanation, but none made sense. Who is this? She whispered, gripping the phone so tightly her knuckles turned white. The voice on the other end trembled. Please, listen. Don't open the door. No matter what you hear. No matter how much it begs. Then, the line went dead. A suffocating silence filled the room. Mira's heartbeat pounded in her ears. Her fingers trembled as she set the phone down. A nightmare. That had to be it. A bizarre, vivid nightmare. Then came the knock. It was soft at first. A gentle tap against the wood, almost hesitant. Mira froze, every hair on her body standing on end. Her apartment was on the 10th floor. No visitors. No late-night guests. Another knock. More insistent. Her pulse hammered in her throat. She tiptoed to the peephole, pressing her eye against the glass. The hallway was empty. Another knock, this time, from the back door. Mira spun around. That wasn't possible. The only entrance to her apartment was the front door. There was no back door. And yet, she heard it. A slow, deliberate knock coming from the far end of her apartment. A voice followed. Muffled. Pleading. Mira, please. Let me in. Her stomach lurched. The voice was familiar. Too familiar. It was her own. She stumbled back, her breath coming in quick gasps. Her phone buzzed again. She snatched it up, her hands shaking. Unknown number. She answered. What do you want? Her own voice replied, softer this time. Mira, whatever you do, don't let it see you. Don't let it know you're listening. Tears burned her eyes. Who are you? What is happening? The voice on the line wavered. It's coming. The knocking stopped. Mira's breath hitched. A dreadful silence swallowed the room. She could hear the blood rushing in her ears. Then, the doorknob twisted. She stifled a scream, clapping a hand over her mouth. The metal rattled as something outside tried to force its way in. She backed away slowly, her mind racing. Her phone buzzed again. Run. Mira didn't hesitate. She sprinted to the bathroom, slamming the door shut and locking it. Her breaths came in ragged gasps as she pressed her back against the cool tile. Silence enveloped her once more. She dared to check her phone. No signal. The last call had vanished from her history. A soft creak came from outside the bathroom door. Then, the whisper. Mira. I know you're in there. The air turned frigid. Her breath fogged in the dim light. She pressed her hands over her ears, squeezing her eyes shut. Then, something slid under the door. A piece of paper. Mira's trembling hands reached for it. Scrawled in her own handwriting were 3 words, "Don't look up." Her heart stilled. The air felt heavier. A pressure built in the room, as if something unseen loomed above her. Her instincts screamed at her to obey. But curiosity was a wicked thing. Her eyes flickered upward. A face stared back at her from the ceiling. Her own face. Myra's scream was swallowed by the darkness.